This week in the news, hacks and malware across the board, and Stop Killing Games doesn't pass EU Parliament. All that and more on this week's Old Man Rages at the News. Before we get the show on the road, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy the content. We're kicking off strong with this one. Some of the workshop items for Wallpaper Engine contain malware. Yippee, just what the doctor ordered. Now, for those like me who live under a rock, Wallpaper Engine allows you to customize your PC's wallpaper, allowing it to move, show time, play music, etc. The malware doesn't come from the traditional wallpapers though, it comes from the wallpapers with the application type. Those wallpapers are executable files that run handmade code, so it's basically do anything as long as you have the knowledge. Yeah, you can see where we're going with this. And how this hit the news. Now, good for me, since I don't have to explain this, SecureList explained how the malware works. So, if you're curious, you can go read up on what exactly this thing does. Now, what I would like to point out here is that during SecureList's investigation, they found familiar threads like Dark Comet, the InfoStealers, Luma, and Vidar, and the Ren engine loader. They even listed a few specific threads during their discovery. So yeah, a shitload of Trojans. Christopher Nolan could take a note here. This is more Greek than the Odyssey. By the time they posted their findings, Steam already identified and removed the malware from their platform. Big W there. Now, SecureList also confirmed the malware was present in the app as early as August 2025. So, if you ever subscribe to Wallpaper Engine with the application type, do yourself a favor by running a couple of scans with an antivirus software. And also, goes without saying, but do double check your banking. You never know what might have happened. Now, continuing the theme with hacking, we have Nintendo, and hackers managing to steal Nintendo employee data and posted a $2 million ransom. The hacker group in question is Shadowbyte, and they breached Nintendo servers on the 13th of June, with the group in question giving Nintendo until the 15th of June to respond. The group claimed to have access to 859 megabytes of Nintendo data that includes full names of employees, bank statements, employee IDs, and reports, analytics, and more. My question is, do these guys have any information about the whole Palworld Nintendo lawsuit? I want to see if it was internally pushed through or what. Anyways, sidetracking over, Nintendo of America did respond, and this is their statement. We are aware of an issue involved Tiny Pulse, a third-party service used for internal employee surveys at Nintendo of America. Nintendo systems have not been compromised and no personal, customer, or financial data has been accessed. The data involved is limited to internal survey content comprising a small subset of our employees, and most of the information dates back several years. We appreciate our employees' willingness to share their perspectives, take all feedback seriously, and take action when needed. We are working with the service provider to address the issue. Let's hope it's not as important as they make it seem, because even year-old data can point to why a company did something in the past. So, yeah, I ain't holding my breath that Nintendo's gonna do the right thing at this point. And not to be left out of the party, hackers are now hacking Roblox games instead of just people's accounts. Yippee! More hacks, everybody gets a hack! Now, get this. Two 20-year-olds spent 5 years building a game called The Shadow Network. And in April, one of the co-developers was approached by someone random with a job offer. Christos was one who got the job offer and got convinced to run a file on his PC. And that file was secretly malware. Surprise, surprise. That malware transferred ownership of the Roblox game and stole their Robux. They tried contacting Roblox support and filed a DMC takedown request but got no response. Mind you, you can make money out of Roblox creations, so this isn't a nothing burger here. There are two more cases where similar things happened in the past. It was with Mohamed Caparosa and Rovan Rai, who both got offered jobs. Mohamed was asked to install a Python package called Robase, described as database project tool, while Jovan was offered to work on the stolen game The Shadow Network. When Roblox was contacted by 404 Media for comment, Roblox stated, "We were troubled to hear of this specific incident and have restored the game to its owner." They also added a new enhanced protection, basically two-step verification, and account session protection that binds accounts to specific devices. But ultimately, the best way to protect yourself is by having some common sense and not run stuff that somebody tells you without double-checking what this is. Especially if you do it on a device that you make money out of. Now, common sense, at least for the IT industry, is double check the file, make sure it's not malware, make sure malware software doesn't trigger it, and ideally open it on a device that's not connected with what you're doing. So yeah, last part, you'll be a bit hard pressed in this day and age to find another device, but make sure that everything before that is already tested before opening that file. Well, at least Roblox did the right thing here and restored the ownership. Hey, at least they did something good. And now for a way to shoot yourself in the foot. Get this, Sony drops PC and adds AI to their official business strategy summary. Oh boy, what a good way to kill a portion of your profits right there. Now, that's not the only thing that changed here. A line from 2025 got changed from aims to achieve sustainable and profitable business growth to aims to achieve sustainable business growth. Bruh, porting your games over gives you profit. Hell, wouldn't be surprised if porting Bloodborne over to PC would be enough to sustain your whole company for 2 years, knowing the demand for that game. But anyways, the CEOs apparently will be stubborn like, I'd say bulls. I was thinking of something else, but let's go with bulls. And to be more specifically, the PlayStation CEO says a console is necessary for playing games. Sure, buddy, sure. And polar bears dance in the Australian outback. This is actually insane enough for it to be a thing at one point. Anyways, now, this is the full quote. I won't bother reading it since it's less believable than a local crackhead that hides behind the supermarket's dumpster. What I'll quote is a part of it. "I think we can create something interesting by utilizing technologies that can be used in various forms and locations to develop new game console experiences." Alright, mate, where are those developments? Where are those experiences? Oh wait, you haven't done any of that. All they did is upgrade the parts of a console and increase the number up by 1. Yeah, apparently only PlayStation and Xbox exist. Phones, handhelds, as in, Steam Decks, the Nintendo console handheld things. Yeah, the Switch. They don't exist. Not to mention PlayStation Portal ain't new tech, so yeah. For those who don't remember, PlayStation Portable was a thing. Mind you, I wasn't kidding about the stubborn part here. Get this, to quote it word for word, if releasing a title on PC would maximize the gaming experience, we'll continue to consider that option. Our current main policy is that for single-player games developed in-house, we'll further refine the value of the gaming experience that PlayStation can offer. Yeah. Stubborn as an ox right there. I'm just baffled. They literally have an infinite amount of money waiting for them. All they need to do is just put some time and effort to port over single player experiences over to PC instead of live service slop, but you know, God forbid they listen to what people want to make money out of it instead of doing stupid things like pushing their PlayStation Network accounts on non-PlayStation users. You literally just port Bloodborne over and kick back and relax at the company's growth for next year or more, but fucking hell. From bad business decisions to people leaving. The head of Xbox Game Studio, Craig Duncan, and Chief of Staff, Lewis O'Connor, are leaving Xbox after decades of working for them. Now, there was no reason given for this joint exit. I wouldn't be surprised though that Microsoft is trying to do something with Xbox at this point. That's just my own tinfoil hat opinion. Now, Microsoft also shut down Compulsion Games, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory. All three of these studios started negotiations with Microsoft to buy back their full closure. Now, what's interesting here is Mike Straw from Insider Gaming says he got messages from employees at Compulsion and Arcane saying both studios are scared. Both studios also overheard conversations about the future of their studios. The Verge also reported that the studio got the news last Monday. Well, yes, this is the reset Asha Sharma was talking about. Now, the co-founder of ZeniMax also believes that layoffs could happen at ZeniMax, but nothing got confirmed as of writing. He does expect it to happen on Monday, but for now it's just him overhearing things. And to add to the CEO pile, Microsoft's CEO also admitted that YouTube monetized Xbox better than they do. According to Satya Nadella, their challenge in gaming is that it has not been monetizing its entertainment properly. To quote him, "In fact, if anything, we've been subsidizing that entertainment. In fact, there's more monetization on Xbox games happening on YouTube than at Microsoft." Alright, let's take a step back here and ask the most important question. How are they monetizing Xbox in the first place? Feel free to answer that part out on your own. What I'll say is that I just hope they don't monetize Xbox. Yeah, monetize in quotes. By just bum rushing their storefronts with ads to shitify the experience for new Xbox fanboys out there. But, you know, that's just delusions on my end, alright? Not like that will happen. Especially from the company that's neck deep in AI. No, we won't. Be right back. I gotta refill the hopium tanks. And now for something that shouldn't have happened. The EU Commission's discarded Stop Killing Games. Now, does it suck? Yes, but don't worry about it. And I'll explain why later on. But first, what exactly was the reason given? Well, the first reasoning given by the Commission is that the Commission cannot propose, and propose here is the important bit, a legal obligation to keep games playable after support stops due to copyright laws. They also point out the EU already has consumer laws protecting the economic interest of consumers. Alright, who's up to test that law on what happened with the crew? Let's see if that's applicable or not. Best part of that response is that they will still quote-unquote address players' concerns by adding an industry code of conduct for managing video games end of life. That will be ignored by everybody in the business. All to raise awareness about the applicable rights that protect consumers. Sure, buddy, sure. Companies are gonna be following this voluntary code, right? Pretty sure Ubisoft is gonna be the first one to follow that voluntary code. Alright, enough trashing on the whole Respawn thing, let's get to the meat of the subject. Stop Killing Games did upload the press conference that lasted an hour and a half, but look, I ain't insane enough to cover that. That's just way too much for me to cover it in this video format. If you're curious about what's happening, go listen to it. What I'm gonna cover is a bit of Ross's last video, where he pointed out that the commission doesn't change anything. How? Well, basically, the Stop Killing Games initiative would fit into the Digital Fairness Act, which is set to be amended. Yes, you get where this is going, right? They are gonna piggyback off from that to push this through. Best part of all of this, they got an inquiry call on legislative action to the commission that got signed by 45 members of the EU Parliament and have majority support on this. So yeah, guess what? Ubisoft is gonna have to follow that voluntary code of conduct. Because it's not gonna be voluntary anytime soon. Now, best part is that this is not just in the EU. The initiative revealed their plans for next few months, with Stop Killing Games legal and political team working on the POG Act in the US. In the EU, the Stop Killing Games team has already begun adapting the POG Act. That sounds better. POG Act. We're gonna be pogging on this one. Anyways, they're adapting the POG Act into legislation suitable for the European Union, and are currently working with EU factions to determine which existing legislative proposal they should target first. So yeah, apparently it's target-rich environment time here. And in the UK, the Stop Killing Games team there will focus on building a new Stop Killing the Internet team, in coalition with groups including Open Rights Group, Big Brother Watch, Index of Censorship, Progressive Victory, The Pirates, and many others. It's not over until the fat lady sings, and I don't hear the choir. And now for rapid fire news. Epic is looking for a champion to do a Linux-friendly anti-cheat in the new job listing. And the ironic thing about the article is that it points out that this will be ideal for the Steam Deck and Steam machines, since they both run on Steam OS, which at the end of the day is Linux. Pretty sure Tim Sweeney hasn't thought of that. Hell, pretty sure his whole goal with it wasn't to help Steam. My 2 cents on this? He's just trying to get extra money from Linux players on Fortnite, but that's just my tinfoil hat theory. Also, with my limited understanding of anti-cheat on Linux, apparently the tools are there for game devs to, get their anti-cheats to work on Linux. It's just they don't bother. Moving on. Weeks after launching Luna Abyss, the entire team at Quali Labs got laid off. The studio launched a Cosmos horror shooter called Luna Abyss on the 21st of May, and on the 16th of June, the CEO posted a LinkedIn that the small team of 9 employees is now looking for work. Or to put it in layman's terms, they got fired. Oh boy. The worst part about all of this is that the game does have a generally favorable rating on Metacritic. But if you were to look at Steam charts, you can see why they got laid off. They couldn't get more than 317 players to play their game. And to be fair, the marketing team sure didn't do their job, since this is the first time I'm hearing about this game. When marketing fails a studio, the 2 ends of the scale. You either have a lot of cash poured into the marketing that could have been spent on the game, resulting in increased budgets, or you can say fuck off to marketing, market it like, it's something on the Orange YouTube, and pray to God it goes off. And in this case, it didn't. Anyways, moving on, Bungie could suffer layoffs again. Now, this came from a French journalist for BFM TV, and according to him, he heard of talks that at least 50% of the workforce is affected. Mind you, according to him, this includes permanent and contract staff. All of that following the end of support for Destiny 2 and the situation with Marathon. Now, he did add extra details as well on his X account, and to quote him, after speaking with my sources, including some at PlayStation, what stands out is mainly internal resistance / strong pushback. Many people at PlayStation don't understand the decision made at the top to discontinue Destiny 2. Going on further, he clarified in the comments that there was pushback against the decision to stop the development of Destiny 2, proving that Sony, once again, has zero common sense when it comes to money making. Moving on, Square Enix has officially delisted the Kingdom Hearts Cloud version for Nintendo Switch from sales. If you own them, you can still play them, at least until the 9th of June 2027, but they are no longer purchasable. They did also offer a discounted digital pre-order for the Nintendo Switch 2 version for players who own the cloud release, which does include safe data transfer. You guys know where I'm going with this, right? If only there was a legislation that passed in the EU that could throw a wrench into the works here, but we'll go with round 2 for that legislation. In the meantime, Nintendo Switch users will have to suffer. Moving on, Black Myth Wukong sold 30 million sales, faster than Elden Ring. Power of Monkey intensifies right there. This came from a published document by the Central Committee of Communist Youth League of China, where it confirmed the units sold, and it did it faster than Elden Ring, which took 3 years to get there. Another thing that document confirmed is that over half of the sales came from gamers outside of China. Would you look at that? Almost as if people liking a game make that game go to the moon. Moving on, Rockstar became a rockstar and did something shocking. Anyone who owns the PlayStation version or the digital Xbox version of GTA 5 will be able to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X or S version at no additional cost. There is also an easy migration for both story and online progression, so you're not gonna have to start from scratch. Talk about actual customer service right there. But don't worry, it gets better. Console players aren't the only ones getting goodies, since PC players can upgrade from the Legacy Edition to the Enhanced Edition for free. And they're also releasing the Court Center Heist that will come out July, if anybody's interested in that. Moving on, Steam rejected the demo for Return to Shironagasu Island's sequel. Big oof, barara, big oof. Why? Well, this is supposedly caused by a pitch black image used during the shower scene. You know, pitch black is in a black hole, black type of pitch black, where you can't see shit. The light doesn't get out of it. That type of black. The worst part of all of this is supposed to be a visual novel for all ages. The creator of the game even posted the scene as a reply to their X post, but since the text is in Japanese, I have no idea what's written there. Now, one person suggested it could be because of the text, to which the author jokingly replied, "Maybe they can see something that we can't see." Scary, isn't it? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to confirm that Valve employees can see in the dark. More in the evening news segment. And to wrap up the week, Capcom finally removed the microtransactions from Dragon's Dogma 2. Ooh, took him long enough. On X, the studio officially announced the Deluxe Edition, and vast majority of the game's DLC item will be permanently discontinued on the 24th of June. The only two optional items that remain are the Explorer's campaign kit and the music and sound collection. The studio did also clarify if items get purchased before the deadline, they can still be used normally if previously obtained. It's also worth noting that the game's price will be permanently discounted starting as of the 24th of June as well. And at least we're ending this week off on some good news. See you all next week for more Old Man Rages at the News.